to get that link to my YouTube channel. Cool. And I'm just going to drop that over to our guests and Luma. Perfect. Cool. And I'll even put it on my LinkedIn. Let me find this post. Yeah, here we go. Okay, now the link is out so people can join. Cool. And yeah, we'll just get started in about 6 minutes.
Perfect.
All good. Cool.
Just remember, Nina, getting fit never gets old.
That's true.
That's what we're talking about, longevity. So
That's what we're gonna, yes, exactly. That's what we're gonna talk about, getting
That's
people
right.
excited about getting fit and how easy it is to incorporate it back into your day.
yeah, real life, real life.
Real life, exactly. So let's see. I like to keep my eye on when people are joining. So it's in the public chat. Let's see.
Nina, what time is it there?
It's 2:55 p.m. for me. And I know, so you're 9:55, right?
Yep.
You're on the East Coast?
East Coast. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we had a beautiful sunny day here in
Oh, nice.
Lisbon. We've had a lot of rain recently, but we had this huge storm come off the Atlantic. So we had like kind of 10 days of this like downpouring rain. And
Right.
now the sun is out and it's like a good fall, crisp, sunny temperature.
I'll tell you, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. A
Yeah.
little vitamin D. That's
The
the best
best.
doctor in the world, right there.
100%. I mean, I used to live in Berlin, and the darkness just takes so much out of you, not just, this seasonal depression, and then,
Right.
the color from your face, like my hair is darker, and then
That's
you don't
blush.
see the sun. Truly,
Crazy.
this cloud is so thick, and then you don't see any blue sky from basically like October to May.
Ugh.
And it's so brutal. And then you come here to Lisbon, it's like everyone's more cheerful and happy. And I'm like, it's the sun.
Disposition.
It's the
I
sun.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I just like people in I mean, I live in Cleveland. But we have a place in Florida as well,
Oh,
and
okay,
I got
nice.
to tell you, it's night and day difference. Cleveland's cloudy. It's cold in the winter, and
Yeah.
Florida's paradise. People have a
Yeah.
different disposition.
They do. I think it's like people like in Berlin in particular, when you're in the deepest, darkest part of the winter, people are so grumpy and so unfriendly. And then May comes around where this cloud starts to break up, the sun starts coming in, you could just see hope like restored to their eyes.
Yeah, I believe it. I totally believe it. So
Yeah,
you
and
need you need that
I
vitamin
could
D.
definitely see that happening in Cleveland. I've only been to Cleveland once. There was this really funny Cleveland, like, I don't know if it was like a tourism video necessarily, but like this, I'll have to find it and send it to you, but I don't know if it was actually put on by like the Cleveland city that produced this Cleveland video, but it went pretty viral on YouTube, and it was just kind of promoting Cleveland, and it was, have you ever seen it? Does this ring a
No,
bell to you
it's
at
probably
all? Oh,
self-deprecating humor, I'm sure.
yeah, it's so good. I'll see if I can track it down.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully you got a chance to get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I hope.
I didn't.
Ah,
Okay,
no,
so I'm missing out.
you are. It's
Okay.
no, I think it's great. I mean, it's definitely Midwest,
Yeah.
Rust Belt, Midwest, blue collar type, no doubt. But it's still home and it's still very very Midwest ethics and so it's good. But lacking sunshine for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I think the one time I visited Cleveland, I can't remember. It was definitely in the fall or the winter,
Oh,
and it was pretty grim.
yeah,
Yeah. So it didn't paint
brutal.
a good picture. I think that maybe is why I haven't been back.
Yeah, brutal, brutal.
It is
Too
brutal.
long, 6 months. So that's
Yeah.
why you got to get
It,
down and get recharged sometimes, and get down to the south and where it's sunny and people
yeah.
have a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it says a lot. So
Yeah, it's good you get to escape. How long do you spend in Florida?
well, just weeks here, weeks there, right now at this point. So just
Oh, so you're in Florida now. Okay,
No,
because
no,
if you're in
no,
Cleveland,
no.
you
I'm
would
in
be
Cleveland now, but
okay.
in December we'll be back there, and
Okay.
so I think the biggest thing is we have a chance to get away, and that's important. But to revitalize yourself and re-energize a little bit and get those batteries charged again.
Yeah.
Um, so it's so long the winters here. That's why it just gets brutal
I
to
I
think that
I
you got 6 months
understand.
of this. Ugh.
Yeah. I can't
So it's
even, I mean, I used to escape Berlin to Lisbon in the winter to get the sunshine. And now
yeah,
that
here
I've
you
been
are.
in Lisbon a few years, I'm like, I went to Cape Town last year.
Isn't that
Now I'm
something?
going to go to Australia this year. And yeah, so I'm just like, I want to be in the summer all year.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's great. It's good stuff, and you develop different lifestyle as far as fitness and health. And
Yeah.
when you're outside, you're moving a lot more. In the
Yeah.
winters,
Oh,
what do you do if you
100%.
don't ski?
Yeah.
You're basically indoor fun.
Yeah.
Oh, indoor fun. There you go. Uh,
Indoor, I like it. I'm just going to grab my water bottle and then I'm ready to go.
so
Okay, so we're about on the hour. I saw someone pop in, someone popped out, so we'll see who joins. But I think we can get started.
all right.
So, okay, let's go. So, welcome to Nina's Notes. Today we have another live episode. I'm really excited to be here today with Jaime Brenkus. And we're all here to talk today about movement and why does it feel so hard to start moving, even though it is something that you can grow to love. So a little bit about my guest today. Today I'm here with Jaime Brenkus. He is a fitness pioneer and the absolute legend behind the viral 8-minute abs video, which I remember seeing when I was growing up. And I think it is so cool that you're here with me today. You've helped millions of people lose millions of pounds and inches. You have starred in TV shows. You've been all over your face has probably been all over the globe. In I think you said 167 countries. You're an absolute celebrity
Inshallah.
when it comes down to fitness. And now you're putting the boom back in boomers, helping them get fit fast and doing things that I'm basically just accessing doable workouts that can increase their longevity. So, Jaime, welcome to the podcast.
Nina, it's a pleasure. My gosh, and what a lead-in! I've got to tell you, that's quite nice of you to say that. And yeah, I think the biggest things, and it's funny, if we help millions of people, or if we help one, I think it's the same aspect. And how do we focus on these strategies that resonate with people on a large level? And I think it's funny. We did 8-minute abs. You're talking, my gosh, I think you're talking what 1995. So you're thinking,
Yeah.
my gosh, it's 30 years ago.
Yep.
And so why did that resonate? Well, everybody was doing, like Richard Simmons and Jane Fonda were doing, hour-long programming. We said, well, shoot, everybody's, still sitting on the couch. So we have to get them up and moving. So we said, why don't we just do minutes here, minutes there? It all adds up. It's all cumulative. And that's how it stuck. And that's how it resonated with a lot of people. So it was
Yeah.
really, really cool to see that and how it developed. And then everybody come out with, there's 2-minute abs, 6-second abs. Everybody was like copying that, but we're the first time oriented program that came out. And I've got to tell you, it's funny, as we age, now that I'm 64, I'm not 34 anymore, I'm 64, people my age, they want to look younger, they want to live longer, they want to feel better. And I've got to tell you, if you've got some of your listeners out there that if you're 45 and above, repeat after me. I will not let age change me. I'll change the way I age. And
I
Nina, I'm
like that.
telling you, that's the key. We want to go out, fighting and screaming. We don't want to just live decrepit. And the fact
Yeah.
is, I've got to tell you, what's the real cost of aging? What if you do nothing at all? I mean, we know what happens. It's high blood
Hmm.
pressure, it's
Yep.
diabetes, it's heart disease, it's loss of
Obesity.
mobility, it's
Yep.
forms of cancer, it's dementia.
Hmm.
That's not what we want. We want to try to basically, what we're trying to do here with my programming now is trying to lessen the gap between your lifespan, which is how many years you're going to,
Yeah.
live, and your health span. So right now the
Hmm.
health span's here and our lifespan's here, and you've got all these years of living in activity, and the fact is you're living in not health. And so to me,
Hmm.
exercise is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable because the fact is, if you don't do it, we know what's going to happen. There is a real cost of inactivity. And there's an old funny, I love Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne was a mentor to me. Jack LaLanne was the pioneer of fitness, the godfather of fitness. He paved the road for people like myself or people that are in nutrition, anybody. He was the visionary behind all this. But he had a great line. He said, it's funny, people don't die of old age, they die of inactivity. And I truly
100%
believe
agree.
that too.
Yeah.
And to me, though, what happens is if you don't make time for your wellness, you're going to be forced to make time for your illness. You don't have
Mm.
to do that. You don't have to spend hours a day in the gym. You don't have to run marathons, be bodybuilders. You don't have to do that. We want to focus on routine over motivation because some people, I can't be motivated to do it. I don't feel like I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, you've cracked the code when it comes down to this. Like you've cracked the code on we don't have enough time to work out. Why do you think that message resonated so deeply?
I think because people were overwhelmed. It was daunting to say to somebody who's a deconditioned
Mhm.
person, who is a couch potato, okay? Those are
Yeah,
the people that were exercising, they were going to exercise no matter what.
for
We
sure.
wanted the deconditioned people out there that were doing nothing. And if you tell
Hmm.
somebody that's doing nothing, say, well, you got to work out an hour a day, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
And so you want to have something that is doable and is baseline doable. So we said, okay, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. We're only asking you for 8 to
Mm.
start. 8 to start. That's 1/180th of your day. You have that time. And so what happened was it empowers them to get up and moving, say, oh shoot, I do it. This kind of makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden now they're doing double eights or triple eights. The light bulb went on. And now
Hmm.
they're doing 16 minutes, 24, 32. It's becoming a part of their everyday life. And that idea of routine over motivation is so important because now it's like, okay, it's just like brushing your teeth. I'm going to get
Hmm.
up and move today. Monday, I know what I got to do. Tuesday, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to walk over here. And so that empowers people to be active and doing it that way. And it's not just any 8 minutes. I'm telling you, I've got this down to a science. To me, there's a fusion. What is it? It's components of fitness. It's cardiovascular fused with
Hmm.
resistance. And especially as we age, especially, people don't stop exercising because they grow old. They grow old because they stop exercising. And so we know that there's a word, and I'm an exercise physiologist from the American College of Sports Medicine, but there's a word called sarcopenia. Okay,
Yeah.
sarcopenia is kind of a muscle leaking and happens
Hmm.
to everybody that ages. But
Yeah.
you see some guys in their 70s and so forth, and maybe even 80s, and they've got their arms have atrophied, right? Their
Hmm.
arms have atrophied. They're skinny and they're out of proportion. And it's like they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that because what happens is your muscle tissue starts to lessen. You need
Yeah.
to rev it up again. And ladies, especially ladies out there, listen up. You know, you lose muscle tissue 3 to 5% per decade after the age of 30. And you're like,
Hmm.
that doesn't sound like a lot. But when you start getting to be your 50s, 60s, and
Yeah.
70s, well, now you've lost 20, 25% of your muscle tissue.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
It's a
It might not
compounding
sound like a
effect
lot.
too.
It
That
adds
loss is
up because
compounding.
now,
Exactly.
right, need to think about it. So now people are going, well, shoot, I'm eating the same amount of calories. How come I'm getting a little lumpier and bumpier in certain areas? And ladies, listen up. It can be easily focused in on your muscle tissue. And if you rev up that metabolism by putting on lean muscle, And we're not talking about being a bodybuilder. Just activate muscle tissue. You are going to see things happen. You are going to see, of course, results, because not only are you going to feel better, you're going to look better, and it gets you that little pep in your step, because you don't want loss of mobility. And that's what happens. Again, non-negotiable, guys. If you don't do anything, you're gonna pay the price later, and we don't want that. You don't have to be that person. Elaine Lelaine, who I wrote a book with about 4 years ago, she had a great line: "I don't want to be old when I'm old." And Elaine, she's 99. God bless her. She's the greatest person in the world. And so she'll be 100 in March 19th. And I've got to tell you, she's still got that zippity doo-dah. She's got that effervescent energy. And it's because the lifestyle. It's because of the mindset. And I tell people, look, EHOH, every hour on the hour. I don't care if you're sitting down on your computer, you're on your phone, you're reading a book. Get up every single hour and do something. Move. I don't care if you're doing push-ups, sit-ups, whatever. It doesn't matter. Go for a walk. Just get up and move, Nina. And people say, well, how do you stay in shape? You're 64 now. You've got some energy. You don't look like you're losing muscle tissue, which I have not, by the way. I'm probably in better shape than I was when I was 34, and now that I'm 64. So, but I work at it. But I do a ritual every single morning, and I want your listeners to think about this, because this is how easy you start the day off, okay? I do 3 things, okay? I do push-ups, I do a plank, and I do squats. Now, I personally do 50 push-ups in the morning, but I want you guys to start off with 20, okay? Now, you do 20 every single morning for a month. That's 620, right? Yeah. Times 30 is 600 push-ups, okay? And you can do them on the wall, you can do them on a bench, a chair, or even regular push-ups, or on your knees. That's fine, modified. Then I do a 1-minute plank, right? You get on your elbows and your legs, and guess what? That's 30 minutes to get a slimmer, trimmer, tighter waistline. It's only a minute, but guess what? Times 30 days, it adds up. Then I do 25 squats, okay? Easy programming, right? 25 times 30 days, that's 750 squats during the course of the month. That's to start your day. And guess what? That's doable. It only takes me a minute and a half to do all that. But I start the day off right, mentally, physically, and I've got to tell you, it gives you a little pep in your step. But all that's accumulative. And Nina, that's how it works. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to run a marathon. And so you can do this. Have your listeners do that. I'm telling you, that starts the day off right. They do it every single day. It becomes a routine. And next thing you know, pants are fitting different. My shirts are fitting different. They feel alive. And that's what it's about.
They see the results and they start to feel better. They understand it's working, because I think a lot of people want instant gratification. And I would say your body can change really fast. But it's not one day to the next, but within a month, I 100% agree. So you're saying just getting this morning routine going can move somebody's, I would say their mindset from I should work out to I actually want to work out by the end of the month.
It's stinking. It gets rid of the stinking thinking. I mean, thinking about people that are so negative. It's like, I can't do this. I'm too fat. My thighs are too big. My butt's too large. I'll never stick with it. I can't do it. The thing is, put a big stop sign. Stop. Do you really feel like that? Do you really feel that you can't do it? No, you can do it, because if it's overwhelming and daunting, you don't even want to start. That's what I'm saying. So you do these little bits and pieces of snack size fitness, if you will. Snack size, right? We all want bite-sized stuff. Well, this is easy. And you do have 8 minutes. And I'll tell you why. With my clients, I usually tell them, look, split your day into thirds. Write on a piece of paper what you do between breakfast and lunch, between lunch and dinner, and between dinner and the evening time before you go to bed. Are you telling me there's 1,440 minutes in a day? Are you telling me that you don't have 8 minutes out of all those hours during the day? What are you doing?
Scrolling social media. That's what they're doing.
Close that book. Close the phone for a second. Give yourself the opportunity. Make you the priority, right? Make you the priority. And it's not about willpower. Everybody says, well, I don't have the willpower. It's about want power. You want more energy. You want more health. You want more vitality. You have to want it, okay? Now, eventually, if you don't do anything, your doctor's going to say, hey, Mrs. Jones, by the way, you're type 2 diabetic now, or you're pre-diabetic. You have to move. And now they're forced to do it. Well, do it before all that. Again, close the gap between your lifespan and your health span by doing just a little bit here and there. But as we age, Nina, I'm telling you, because people ask me, what's more important, cardiovascular or resistance? It's resistance. Trust me when I tell you, it's muscle tissue. You want the afterburn of the muscle. You know, cardiovascular is great. You're burning calories. Yes, you're working your ticker out and getting the heart pumping and thumping, which is fantastic. But what really transforms your body and transforms your health is muscle tissue. We don't want to have that muscle tissue come down. We want to keep it elevated, keep it activated by doing bits and you don't have to, again, use weights. You can use your own body as resistance. You can use bands. You can use balls. You can use, you know, anything you want to create an overload to your system so your muscle hypertrophies. And this is a little exercise physiology technology, but Nina, think about this. I don't know if you've ever broken anything in your body before.
Luckily, I have not. So I've never broken
Knock on wood.
anything.
Good,
But I
good.
have seen amazing recoveries of my dad in particular shattered his femur, but
Oh,
he's a
there you
very
go.
fit guy. He walks
Yep.
3 miles every day carrying weights like this. It's so impressive. And he recovered so quickly because he had that muscle around that bone and he was walking honestly within like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
There's
Shattered
a
femur.
great testimonial right
Yeah.
there for health and wellness and so forth. And so what happens when your dad had, of course, he had the cast, right? So when you have your
No, no,
cast,
they just
they
pinned
didn't even
him.
put a cast.
Mm-mm.
Wow. So
Yeah.
let's say if you know somebody has maybe broken their arm, okay? So
Yeah.
what
And then
happens?
you
They
have a
put the
skinny
cast on
arm.
3 4 months, whatever. And next thing you know, they take it off. The arm atrophied, right?
Yep.
Atrophy. So what
Yep.
happens though, when they start to move it again, it hypertrophies, meaning it
Mm,
grows. And
mhm.
so we want hypertrophy of the muscle, okay? Now, that is the key. The overload, the stressor that you put on your muscle, just like your dad did, and by working out, he became basically, it's like an armor. It's like body armor because it basically shielded him from injury, if you will,
Yep.
and recovery. And so I've got to tell you, I think we're doing the right thing by promoting strength training and resistance, because the physics alone are out there saying that, look, if you just do this a little bit here, a little bit there, it's going to add up. You're going to reap the benefits in groves. Might as well
Absolutely.
do it. What else do
Yeah.
you have the time? Shut the iPad, watch TV. During the commercials,
Yeah,
get up and
during
move.
commercials, do the 8 minutes. Jamie, we have
Exactly.
we have a question in the chat from one of our listeners right now. It's from Mary. She says, "I've pulled my quadricep muscles recently from overdoing step exercises, and I'm in agony every morning. What is the best exercise for that? Because it's very painful to do squats right now."
Yeah. Well, again, yeah, pulling a quad, that's a
Pulling a quad is
nasty.
painful. So Mary, I'm sending you some love because that's a really painful one.
Yeah, that is. And I think if you look at how athletes train and going into rehab, again, so you got to focus on the quadricep, which of course is the front of the thigh here. And the idea of doing, again, quad lifts. And if you don't have access to weights, you can have ankle weights by doing, leg lifts in a chair just to start. So you want to keep building up that muscle tissue again, okay? Even though I know it might be painful. So you start a little bit. Maybe you don't even use weight to start, okay? Use your own leg weight or body weight as resistance. You could even do a isometric. So you're lifting your leg here to start that quadricep recovery, okay? That's a good place to start. But whatever you do, don't stop moving, okay? Mary, don't stop moving, because that's the key. And you'll be back to normal, especially if you're an athlete and especially if you're working out, just like your dad, Nina. The fact is the recovery rate's a lot less when you're already active in shape. And
Yeah.
so, yes, so do that. And of course, Mary can email me, Nina, and I'll give her some more
Yeah, I can
exercises to
share
do.
your
I'll
email
do a little video
afterwards.
for her, some
Perfect.
exercises. But the key is the activity. Don't stop moving,
Yeah.
because that's the worst thing you can do. Trust me. So
Yeah, that's
that's
something
something.
that as I had a pretty bad ankle injury almost a decade ago. And ankles, like you just re-injure them again and again.
Vulnerable.
And that super vulnerable. And that's really the first tip. your instinct says, "Oh, let me rest, elevate, ice, and not move." But really, the first thing you should basically be almost immediately going into your rehabilitation. It's like now is the time to gently go into the rehabilitation. So I
Agreed.
second you very much on this. And just to recap what those exercises were, since we are sitting down, you were just picking up your knee.
I'm picking up my leg, but I'm offering resistance with my hand.
Oh, it's okay. So you're pushing down with your
Yes.
hands and then
Yes.
lifting the
So
knee from a
as you're
seated
pressing
position.
up, I'm pressing down gently with my hand, offering resistance.
Okay.
Okay. Then you reverse that and go the other way. So your
Okay.
hamstring,
So then
you
you
push
push down.
down.
Like I'm pulling my leg up and pushing down.
And I'm
Okay.
pushing down with my leg, but I'm offering resistance with my hands. So that's important. But those are things that you can do just sitting down. And again, I know sometimes it is painful, but I'm telling you, it's well worth it to keep moving. And again, offering the resistance, whether it's with your hands, whether bands, whether it's weights, whatever it is, you'll further along your rehab quickly. And you'll be right back to doing your step classes. But that's a bad injury, I can tell you.
I know
That's no
that's
fun.
one I can feel for that a lot.
Oh,
So
for sure, for
I
sure.
want to go briefly back to just the concept of you really nailed it with the 8 minutes, with the 8 minute videos, 8 minute abs. When did you realize those videos were going viral? And also, obviously, it was 1995. So, like, what did virality look like back then?
Well, think about that, Nina. Back then the internet wasn't even, it didn't explode. It wasn't, there was no social media at that point. We did everything on TV. So it went through cable stations, and then we
Okay.
went to Home Shopping Network and QVC and so forth, and run the gamut. And it's funny because the gentleman who was the marketing guru behind 8 Minute Abs was Carl Deichler, and Carl Deichler went on to Beverly Hills and started Beachbody. So, which
Ah,
became a billion
wow.
dollar business. And Carl's a marketing genius, a marketing guru. But I think the idea was that it resonated. You could tell it was resonating because people were recognizing it. And,
Yeah.
even, when the TV commercial was on, my gosh, people are going, oh yeah, 8 Minute Abs. I remember. And it kind of flowed off your tongue. It was,
Yeah.
oh, it's easy to say. And then, of course, when Something About Mary came out, the movie, which kind of gave it another jolt because,
Yeah.
that was a great line with Ben Stiller and Harlan Williams, the comedian. Hey, have you ever heard of 8 Minute
I
Abs? Oh, yeah, the
totally
exercise
forgot
videos.
about that.
Yes. And he said,
Oh,
well,
that's
no,
such a
no,
good film,
7 minute
too.
abs. Let's give 1 minute for free. We'll give them 7 minutes and then 1 minute for free. Like we'll beat the 8 minute folk. And then the whole thing was, well, then Ben Stiller says, hey, what if somebody comes out with 6 minute abs? It was like the guy went crazy. He said, "There's no way it won't work. It's got to be 7." But so that was cute. And but I think we knew that the accumulation effect was working because now, who I'm certified by, the American College of Sports Medicine, everybody, these organizations, these powerful organizations, were saying, look, you don't have to get all 45 minutes to an hour in at once. If you get
Yeah.
in minutes here, minutes there, it is going to be accumulative. It's going to add up, and your metabolism is going to increase every time you start to exercise. So now you're thinking, shoot, why not do 3 8 minute segments instead of doing 25 minutes of just one bout? If I can increase my metabolism 3 different times, well, that's even more beneficial. So
Yep.
physiologically, it actually makes more sense. And then we knew that because if exercise was on one end, we knew that the fork and spoon, okay, your fork and spoon was still your best piece of fitness equipment, Nina, because we could do a lot of damages with these weapons of mass expansion here, right? So we combined it with, later on, after the 8 Minute Abs kind of ran its course, we started to come out with more nutritionally
Yep.
sound programming as well to say, look, because abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. Let's face
100%.
it. You
Yep.
can't
I
spot
agree.
reduce. So physics plays a part because people are going, well, I can do 1,000 sit-ups a day. I should be able to get a slimmer, trimmer, tighter waistline. That's not the case. We all have a six-pack underneath. It's the layer of adipose tissue over top. How do you dissipate that? Well, that's good nutrition. That's where the diet program comes in. There's an old saying that I used to have, that lean people lead lean lives. And it's the habits that they have which make them lean, Nina. Cooking, eating, shopping, fitness, but more
Yeah.
importantly, thinking habits. You have to think like a lean person. It's not a diet mentality. I always tell people, if you have a lifestyle at this, it's going to work. Not so when you say a diet, well, a diet is 30 days. I want to do something I know that I can do for 30 years. And so what has to happen in the mindset, if you say diet, D-I-E-T, I want you to use the word edit, E-D-I-T. I want you to edit the way you
Cute.
think. Edit the, yeah, just a little juxtaposition on words.
Yeah, because I
Because
mean, we have a negative connotation around diet. Diet means
100%.
restriction, rules, rigidity. But yeah, it's like just edit what you eat. I like where you're going with
Edit,
this.
yeah, edit, because you need to think about it. You just said it. It's restriction. So nobody wants to restrict their calories.
Yeah.
Less. You got to eat less. You got to eat that. Listen, no. I want you to focus on the word. Remember, edit. More. More is the key. More fruits.
Yeah.
More
More
vegetables.
veggies.
More
More
healthy
movement.
oils.
Yeah.
More protein. More fiber. Right?
Yep.
More rest. More water. More activity. Again, that shift in mindset, that's the edit version of that.
Yeah.
And so that's extremely important as you go forward with lifestyle as opposed to a diet mentality. And because deprivation is a sure way for failure, right? I mean, you know that.
For
And
sure.
somebody says, well, you can't have a piece of bread, and they're passing the loaf of bread around during dinner, and all of a sudden it smells great, it's warm, and you're like, I can't have it, I can't have the bread. And then what do you want? Well, then all of a sudden now you have a pice of bread and you say, oh, the heck with it, I blew it. I might as well just eat the whole loaf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eat what you want. That's, it comes down
So
to.
yeah, I agree with that very much. Like I think maybe I'm going to get a little deep here, but I think something that comes with weight, it's not just physical weight, but you also carry like an emotional weight that's tied with what your body looks like right now, what you've been eating. How do you help somebody understand that they're deserving of this healthy lifestyle? Because I think that's an emotional barrier that sometimes sometimes people find themselves in.
Well, I think so too. I think, well, I always focus on being, that you as an individual, because I think what happens in today's society, Nina, that people compare. They always compare themselves. And here's a great point, because I know this firsthand. So in 1997, I choreographed Kathy Ireland, the Supermodels, 2 videos, and they were great, and they were really good stuff. And so I was alone with Kathy in her house in Santa Barbara for 3 weeks, choreographing her videos. So she's a really, really kind lady, beautiful person, this, that. But I saw her without any makeup, hair pulled in a bun. So when the cover came out, okay, the cover of the videos, there were 2 videos, her hair was all done up, her makeup, they did all sorts of digitally enhanced, her eyes were whiter, her teeth were whiter, no crow's feet. I'm like, here's a supermodel. And they were digitally enhancing that back in 1997. I'm like,
Yeah.
all this is duped. And so don't believe a lot of things you see on social media, because you can fail by comparison all the time. There's always going to be somebody who has better body, better, looking, this, that. And a lot of it's not even real. And especially with AI, gosh knows, we don't know what's real now. So don't compare yourself. And so when you challenge yourself, think about this. I mean, life's too short to be miserable. And you think about it. You want to teach yourself almost like your best friend. Would you tell your best friend how some of the hurtful things that you say to yourself? Think about it. You never would.
Never.
So exactly. So why tell your own self that? I mean, you should be your best friend. And so I think that's the way you got to look at that. And there's a lot of pressure out there with social media, especially with younger people. But as we age, I think what happens is the image tends to lessen, the importance of image, and health starts taking over. And because here's the thing, if you have some problem with your health, that's the only thing you can think of. Believe me.
100%.
You might have 1,000 other things in your life, but the only thing you think of is your sickness at that point, or your ailment. Okay? So don't think about that as you age. So we want to focus in on taking care of our health, as well as longevity wise, and we want to keep you as healthy for as long as you can. And again, lessen the gap between your lifespan and your health span, guys. And there's ways we can do it. And of course, yes, the fitness is a big part of it. But, and Jack LaLanne had a great line. He said, if exercise is king, nutrition is queen. You put them together and you have a kingdom. And so that's why I'm saying with the idea of nutrition being so, so important. And I keep very lean because I'm pretty disciplined with my nutrition, but I'm not perfect. And neither do you have to be perfect. I always follow the 80-20 rule with dealing with clients, Nina. And it's like this. Look, breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? 3 times 7, that's 21 meals through the course of the week that you have to navigate through, right? So if 80-20 comes, that means 16 meals should be fairly healthy, okay? 5 meals can be whatever you want. And that focuses on progress, not perfection. Because if somebody's saying, again, you got to be perfect with your diet, it's never going to work. Life happens. And so we want to focus on that 80-20 rule because it works. And then you focus on what's right. And, to me, it's about real food. If it's right out of Junior's chemistry set, Nina, it's not going to work. I want to focus on ingredients that I can pronounce, because let me tell you, if you can't pronounce an ingredient, it's safe to say that your body won't recognize it either. Like, what's in chicken, Nina? What's in chicken? Oh, chicken. What's in an apple?
Chicken.
Apple. Hey, give me a carrot. What's in that? Oh, it's a carrot. Okay, so you try to focus in on doing the right thing. And so I think that focus of real food as much as you can. I know it's tough sometimes because of socioeconomic values and so forth, but the bottom line is you still can make good choices out there. And people say, well, what kind of diet do you follow? And I really don't follow a diet, but I will say this: I follow with principles: lean, green, and clean. Okay, so what does that mean, Nina? Lean, that means lean protein, gang. Chicken, fish, turkey, beef, pork, tofu. Okay. The clean aspect is limit the empty calories, cookies, the candies, the sweets. And I'm not saying completely, get rid of them. Whoop, that's terrible. That's terrible. Who knew that? So
this is what happens when you record live.
that's right. That's right.
But it's part of the fun.
Yeah, that's right. So the idea of lessening the idea of sweets, you can have them, but just lessen them. Okay. And the idea of green, right? That's the green. That's vegetables. Vegetables are great because there are hardly any calories. They fill you up and not out. And so lean, green, and clean absolutely works long term. I follow dietitians, ideas. Nothing crazy, nothing fads. Fads don't work to me, because what happens if you have too much sugar or fattening foods, there's something called inflammation, right? I call it inflammaging. Inflammaging.
Yes. That term it's becoming very popular in the longevity space right now. So this is the thing.
Huge. And rightfully so, because chronic disease is focused around it. If you think about obesity or diabetes or arthritis, heart disease, it's focused on inflammation. What is it? Eating red meat, eating processed foods, eating fattening foods, eating a lot of sugar items, a lot of things have sugar in them. Again, that increases inflammation. You got to be careful of that, guys. And so, again, go back to the basics, And so the one macro, though, I can tell you that is extremely important for most of us, of course, is protein. That's, of course, the buzzword these days, Nina. And I do believe that as well. Especially when you activate muscle tissue, you want to feed that muscle good protein.
And
so everybody says,
what's the equation here? Because, okay, I'm going to be speaking in metric because... Yes. I'm a scientist, but I believe it's like 1.2 grams of protein per kilo of weight. So I think I weigh like 52 kilos. So I should be taking in 50 to 60 grams of protein daily.
Which again is
daily,
probably,
right?
If you're an athlete, that's probably low for you, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true.
true.
So I can tell you, well, in usually there's formulas, and you can hear all of them.
Yeah,
how much protein?
Follow up this with the actual formula that's out there, but it's something like this. It's a little bit more than 1 gram per kilo that you weigh.
Right. It's a 0.75 to 1 gram per body weight. So if people don't need the metrics, but here's an easy way to remember it. If you're a 120-pound person, you want to have anywhere between 90 and 120 grams of protein a day. If you're a 150-pound person, you want to be about 112 to 150 grams per day. Now, if you're a 200-pound person, you want to be anywhere between 150 and 200 grams per day. Now, Nina, here's the thing, a 3 ounce, chicken breast fits in the palm of your hand. Now, if you have to get 200 grams of protein in,
Yeah.
that's only 25 grams of protein. You got to eat a lot
Mm.
of chicken to get that. So,
Yeah.
it's not easy, but
Yep.
things like, Greek yogurt, which is
Yeah.
17 grams per 3/4 of a cup, or even cottage cheese, which is 50% protein. You got
Mm-hmm.
16 grams in a little 4 ounce cup.
Yeah.
Those black beans, anything that's going to provide more protein to you is going to be
Mm-hmm.
extremely important, because why? It increases satiety, or the feeling of fullness,
Yeah.
right? So you're tricking your body to say, okay, well, I can do this. And, that's where this idea, has to come in, that good nutrition is so, so important. And,
Mm-hmm.
and so people are thinking, well, shoot, how do I, you're talking about a 3 ounce piece. I always tell people to get handy, Nina, when it comes to portion control, because portion control is extremely important. But use your hand as your guide. So 3 ounces fits in the palm of your hand, or a deck of cards, right? That's the protein. Now, your starch, which is, your rice, your potatoes, your pastas, that's the size of your fist. Okay? That's a portion control. Now, I'm
Yeah.
half Italian, I can tell you, Nita. When's the
Same.
last time you went into an Italian restaurant and this gave you the size of
Yeah.
your fist, the
That's
pasta?
one spoon.
That's exactly.
That's
You'd
one
get up
spoon
and
of
walk
pasta.
out.
Yeah.
But that's a single serving size. And
Yeah.
so again, as we, train ourselves to not overeat, or as Jack LaLanne used to say, that you don't want to exceed the feed limit instead of speed limit. So the idea of portion control is very important. So what about vegetables? 2 handfuls. That's the size. Okay. Then your fats, 1 teaspoon is your thumbnail, and your whole thumb is 1 tablespoon. So you can guide yourself through meals and navigate for portion control by getting handy, right? And so these little things that we focus in on, these strategies and tips, they work through themselves day in, day out, real life solutions for problems. And so I think the biggest thing is, people say, well, I don't know how much I should weigh and this, that. Your waistline is your lifeline, okay? So if you're out there and you're, putting the tape measure to your waist, guys, now the studies are saying, hey, you want to be under, okay, under 40 inches, okay? Ladies, under 35 inches for your waist.
Okay.
And so those are guidelines that you can focus in on. Your listeners can do that and say, okay, well, all right, now I'm going to have to start brushing up a little bit and watching my nutrition and maybe exercise a little more if my waistline is a little more exceeding what the guidelines tell me. And so, I think the biggest thing is too, is if you're looking at total calories, people say, well, I don't know how to, program myself. How many calories should I have? There's a formula even for that. And I know you're a doctor, you know about formulas. But the idea is you want to take your calorie goal weight, okay? So your calories is your goal weight times 12. Now how that works in real layman's terms, let's say you're a 150-pound
This
person.
equation would be in pounds, right? Pounds, not
This would be
kilos.
pounds, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yes.
No worries.
I wish I could be smarter
just wanted
to
to
go with
close.
the metrics.
Yeah.
So the idea of a 150-pound person who wants to go down to 125, they want to lose 25 pounds, so you go 125 times 12, or 1,500 calories is your daily caloric. So 500 breakfast, 500 lunch, 500 for dinner.
Okay.
Now, if you're 175,
That's a hungry day.
yeah, per day, that's right.
Yeah.
And a 175-pound person who wants to get down to 150 pounds, so you go 150 times 12, or 1,800 calories for the day. That's your daily caloric intake to get to your goal. Now, if you're a 250-pound person who wants to get down to 200, lose 50 pounds, you go 200 times 12, or 2,400 calories. And that's a safe bet. Nina, that's how you do it. Because if you say to somebody, you gotta, just eat less, they don't know what that means after a while. So you want to be precise with this. And these are guidelines, these are baselines, but you can tell based on how your clothes are fitting. But these are just guidelines to tell you that you don't have to starve yourself, because that's a sure way for failure. You're going to lower your metabolism, because if your body goes into starvation mode.
You're gonna go like this. Exactly.
Completely.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you don't want to have happen. You want to keep your metabolism revved up, right, ladies? Especially ladies. We don't want to have that muscle tissue lower itself. We don't want to have the metabolism lower. And that's how you succeed long term. And longevity is a big buzzword these days. And I'm living proof. I'm 64. I'm not 24 or 44 anymore. And the fact is, you've got a lot of these red light therapies. You've got hyperbaric oxygen units. You got all these things, which I think are fantastic, on the peripheral, right? On the peripheral, they're great. They may enhance you, but it's what you do day to day inside that kitchen, inside the four walls, whether you're moving in the gym or moving in your living room. You got to keep the principles simple. Simple, 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 and just get out there and do the right thing. You don't have to have all those gadgets. It doesn't, long term.
Yeah, just move your body, eat well, get good sleep, have good social connections is a great place to start.
Five
But
or six
okay, I have another
principles.
question for you in the chat.
Yes.
Another one from Mary. Do you think it is better to get your protein from food or a high protein shake, or a combination of both if one is trying to lose weight?
Wow, what a great question. And I've got to tell you, yes, normally we'll say, but just like we just discussed, normally we'd say, yes, get your protein from your food groups, okay? But just like I said, if you're going to get 100 and some grams of protein in, Nina, guess what? That's
It's hard.
3 ounces of chicken breast. That's six
Yeah.
chicken breasts for 150 grams. You're not going to be able to do it. And so there's not enough time to eat, that kind of food, nor are you that hungry. So I don't mind having a shake because a shake can give you 25 to 30 grams of pure protein, whey protein, in 150 calories. That's 80% protein. So yes, I've got to tell you, I would supplement, and especially I like to do it even after a workout. Let's say if I work out, I'll have a quick, it takes me 30 seconds to down it, right? And
Me too. I do the same thing. It's
right?
like banana smoothie with the chocolate protein, with some berries,
You get
almond
it in.
milk, blend that up. And yeah, exactly. I drink it in like 20 seconds.
Exactly, it's down, and now you got 25, 30 grams of protein in, and I've got to
Yeah,
tell you,
and then I'm like good for the next 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours before I'm
that
hungry
window,
again.
absolutely,
Yep,
until you get
yep.
to the next meal. Again, that's how you
Yeah,
navigate
exactly.
through it.
Yeah.
Because what happens is if you start working out, and then all of a sudden, Mary, listen up, and all of a sudden now you don't eat for another 5, 6 hours. Well, now you miss that window of opportunity for you to actually refuel your glycogen stores or glucose stored in your muscle. And so now you start to think, I'm getting kind of punk a little bit. I'm getting my glucose level starts to drop. Now you get a little shaky. You don't think right. You need, your brain needs glucose to survive. So the idea is you need to refuel. But the idea is to fuel your body. Don't fool your body, right? So if you after a workout ate Cinnabons and all a donut, well, that's not going to work. You got to have high quality, protein and carbs to come in. But it's got to be good carbs. Carbs get a bad name. Nina,
Yeah, I mean, it's like fruits are carbs.
of
And I
course,
think that's
vegetables
something
too.
like we always think about breads and this sort of thing, but it's like we have sugars, we have carbs that are parts of fruits and vegetables. These are healthy sources for this as well that are going to keep you feeling fuller but longer, not going to spike your glucose like it would
bring it
be
down.
with just taking something that's straight sugar. But Jamie, I want to ask you, as you're now are focusing on the boomers. So your generation getting them fit again, is there something that boomers or the 55 plus are doing better in the gym than the 20-year-olds?
Well, I will say this: if the stats treat us right, and these stats are just crazy, over the age of 50. By the way, if you're 50 and above in the United States, Nina, there's 120 million of us out there. Okay, 120 million people that are 50 and above in the United States. There's only 340 million people.
That's basically half the population. Because I think there's 300 people, 300 million people.
330. So it's the third of your population is 50 and above. And so if that's the case, and we've got 66% of the population is overweight, we're not doing a good job with this right now. So that's why we need to get the people moving, okay, but doing it in the right way. But here's the thing, which I want younger people to understand. That heart attack at 60 didn't start at 60. It started at 30.
Yeah.
That dementia that started at 70 didn't start at 70. It could have crept up at 35.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
so when you start looking at that, the habits that you make when you start a younger lifestyle are extremely important. So if you're out there gallivanting, boozing, and eating bad food all the time, eventually it's going to catch up, and we
Yeah.
don't want that. So you have to start making steps right now to do something for your health, your future health. It'll thank you for it. Okay. So as far as did I've lived any different when I was 20 than I'm now 64? No, I was disciplined back then as well.
Hmm.
And so, but I do think this, especially now, there's a few more baby boomers out there that are playing more than I think the 25 and 30 year olds. Playing
Mm.
meaning pickleball, perfect example.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a huge deal right now, especially in the southern states and out west and so forth, because it's fun, it's
Yeah.
social.
It's
So
social.
it's
Hmm.
social, and people want that community
Yep.
effect,
Yep.
okay? Whereas, you get your 25-year-olds, they're out there doing their own thing, and
Hmm.
they're it's inner. Well,
Yeah.
when you get older, you want to have that companionship, you want to have that social
Yeah.
aspect to it, and so things that are fun is extremely important. The consistency, I think, is still there, but I think, as we get older, our mind shifts a little different, and
Hmm.
uh, and so, I just feel that, even for the boomer standpoint, that's 1946 to 1964. That's the age,
Yep.
range there. Um, there's 80 million of us, Nina. 80 million of us,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
that are that age group. And we're going out kicking and screaming, I'm telling you,
Hmm.
because those three elements we do not want to give up. To live longer, to
Hmm.
look younger, and to feel better on a day-to-day basis. And so the strategies that we can bring together today to help people that they know that sarcopenia is setting in, that they know
Hmm.
that if I just did a little bit, he just told me if I just did, 25 squats in the morning, if I did, a plank, if I did some push-ups on the wall,
Yep.
it adds up. I'm going to
Yeah.
stave off osteoporosis, osteoarthritis. I'm going to
Hmm.
stave off forms of dementia because I'm getting my mind active. And they're finding out now, without a question of a doubt, if you walk, okay, I think it was at 4,600 steps, you'd lessen your chance of getting dementia by 25%. If you walk
Mm.
9,600 steps a day, you lessen that chance by 40% of getting dementia. There's a
Wow.
correlation there, guys. Okay?
I
That's
love this.
huge. And especially if you know somebody who's had dementia in your family or
Hmm.
possibly friends, it's a
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
So again, do do your homework. Be consistent. You don't have to be perfect. And there's going to be days, Nina. Guess what? You're going to miss a workout. Who cares? There's going to be days where you're not going to be as healthy as you want with your nutrition. Who cares? It's called so what? Pick it up the next day, the
Yep.
next meal.
Yeah, it's
That's
it's
how you
trying it's
win.
not skipping 2 days in a row if you can avoid it. That's something I think about. I'm like, I can take tomorrow off if I'm feeling like
Right.
I need some rest. But when I'm thinking about skipping the second day, I have to really be like, okay, I know it's because I need rest. I've been overtraining or
Right.
whatever. The next day, non-negotiable, we're getting back out there.
Non-negotiable. And
Yeah.
never miss a
Yeah.
Monday.
I like that too. And also, you don't
Right.
have to start on a Monday. You can
That's right.
start
That's
any day of
right.
the week. Um, how do you get? I think what I find when I talk to some of the older adults in my life is that they really compare themselves with their younger self. So how do you get somebody to start where they are, not where they used to be?
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I'll tell you, it almost dictates itself. You can wake up, and as you age, you'll see you can either wake up with a grin or a groan in the morning. Grin or groan. It's up to you.
And all the cracks.
Oh boy, they're cracking, believe me. And I don't care what shape you're in, it's coming. And
Yeah.
so, it's funny because some days you feel good, you get up in the morning, all of a sudden now your shoulder starts to ache, your hips start to ache,
Mhm.
your knees might ache. And so that groan sets in. And so that in itself is a motivating factor because you don't want to
Mhm.
feel lousy. And as
Yeah.
Lane said, I don't want to be old when I'm old. And so you look at some of your maybe constituents or associates or friends and family who are the same age, who might be in a wheelchair, who might be in a walker, who might be in, just sitting down all day. And it's funny, it's an old saying that I'd rather be the oldest person in the gym than the youngest person in the nursing home. And And so
I
that's
like
a
that.
motivating factor because we all know people who are in there
Yep.
and we all
Yeah.
know that. And we're like, oh my gosh, I hope that's not me when I get older. Well, do something about it. It should be motivating for you to see, to motivate yourself by saying, wow, okay, at least I know I can do something to help myself. And if I listen to what this guy's saying, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to, be a marathon runner. I don't have to be a bodybuilder. I can just activate my muscle tissue to give me the results that I'm looking for and the transformation I have as I go into my golden years, if you will. And that's how you have to do it. Stay consistent without a question of a doubt. That's the key. Consistency beats intensity any day of the week, Nina. I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
you don't have
On
to be
on
perfect on
honestly
it.
anything you do in life. Like not
For
it
sure.
like
And
it
yeah, across the board.
not fitness of course, but also with just I mean, I could even say with my newsletter, just showing up every week, writing the newsletter for the last 3 years, and now I get to sit down with you. Who would have thought that 3 years ago? So that's exactly it. It's like consistency really adds up. It compounds. It also there was a good quote I saw the other day where it was like if you want to get if you want to go running, don't go wait for somebody to run with you. Just start running and
Just
the
go.
people will find you because you're out there running every day and they're seeing you do it and then they'll come and say, "Hey, I see you run this route every day. Do you mind if I
Right.
run with you?" And magic happens. So
Just show up.
I
Just
know,
show
just
up
yeah,
and
it's really like getting your shoes on and getting out the door every day is that's the battle, truly.
it's it. But Nina, it goes back to routine over motivation.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just like brushing your teeth. You're not going to forget to brush your teeth. Well, guess what? I know that on Tuesdays I'm going to have to walk 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes the other. Or I know I'm going to have to get in there and lift some weights and throw around
Yep.
some weights. 10, 15 minutes here and there, 8 minutes here, 8 minutes there. And that's the way you got to look at it. And that'll propel you and empower you to keep going because you feel
100%.
good. And if physics takes over, you feel much better.
Yeah.
And why
Yeah.
not?
And then honestly, you feel worse when you take a day off sometimes.
You
I
know
mean, sometimes
that.
a rest day feels really good.
And
It's,
mentally worse too.
yeah, mentally worse. I want to ask you a bit, Jack LaLanne was obviously a mentor to you,
Oh my
and a
gosh.
lot of time has passed since his, kind of just his fame and what he brought to the fitness community. But what did Jack understand about aging that we're just now maybe seeing more in science? Is there anything that you remember from
Well,
working with
I'm
him?
going to tell you, Jack was so far ahead of the curve,
I
and
believe,
he was the
yeah, I
first one
believe
to
it.
do it. But he was the first one that had nutrition bars, nutrition shakes. He was doing the shakes back in the 50s, back in the
That's
1950s.
crazy.
And people thought he was kooky. They thought, oh, he's a health nut, he's nuts, he's this, that. He was way ahead of his game there, way ahead. And so now, as people will start to, obviously look at some of his activities and antics were great because they proved that longevity. Because he was rowing 70 boats at age 70 in the San Francisco Bay, and so he was proving that as you go along, even at 96 when he passed away, he was still working out an hour and a half a day in his gym. And so he proved that longevity can happen. And it was just because that he had a mindset that it was a discipline. It was a discipline, dedication, determination that he was going to prove that he was going to go out in the way he wanted to. And I think that's the key. And Elaine has the same, his wife, of course, has the same aspect to that. And she's at 99. She's still doing jackknives. And
Yeah.
funny, I had that book, so I wrote that book 4 years ago. If you want to live, move. And that's an old Jack LaLanne saying, by the way, putting the boom back to boomers. But Elaine is 99 and she still has that effervescent energy and timeless. It's timeless. And so, I think when Jack was doing his stuff back in the, he spent 33 years on TV. Nina, think how crazy that is in today's terms. Nobody ever gets on TV for 33 years. But he had that sense about him that people liked him and trusted him. And you get a chance to know his personality. And he was there for them. He was the voice of reason. And I think that's what we need now. You got a lot of charlatans out there. You got a lot of hypesters and hucksters that are touting the next thing, the next flavor. I go back, just like you do, to the college textbooks where I had that I don't have nothing to sell you. I focus in on what's working and make it, a real strategy for real people who have real jobs, real families, real homes to take after, but they still want real results. And so you have to keep it real. And doing it the right way is the only way I know. And the fact is, yes, you can do anything for 30 days. I want to do something I know I can do for 30 years and implement it, and then just do a routine. And you got it. You'll succeed.
What are you looking forward to seeing in your future body? So 30 years from now, you're 94. What's that picture look like for you? Are you doing what was it, jackknives that lady
Yeah,
Elaine
she's
is
doing
doing?
jackknives with her legs coming up on the bed. It's great. Well, I can tell you this. I do picture myself still working out because it's never left me. It's never, and I do this. Here's a crazy thing. People say, oh, geez, you gotta change your workout, this, that. I do the same routine I've done for 30 years, and it's worked because I now I control it with the nutrition. So I stay lean through that way. Okay, so I know I've got it down to a science. And so as you age, of course, if your muscle tissue starts to wane, well, your diet better be good, or else you're going to start putting on a pounce. And it's for guys, it's around the waist. For ladies, it's the hips, the buns, the thighs, the back fat through here, and the triceps for ladies. I know that if I can keep this up for as long as I can, and guess what? As long as I'm consistent, I'm going to do it. And I know that I can still do the resistance. I don't have to lift a gazillion amounts of weight. I want to take care of my joints. But I'm going to have fun walking on the beach in Florida. And I'm going to have fun going to the gym and talking to youngsters on how that if they follow a lifestyle of health, and to me, your health is your wealth. You could think about working, in a business, but the bottom line is you can have all the dollars in the world, but if you don't have your health, you've got nothing.
Yeah.
You've got nothing.
The most valuable thing.
So that's,
for sure.
that's the thing that I want to impress. And I think I've got another book in me. I have another book in me for sure.
Okay.
It's there. And I think, the other thing, last year, Nina, I wrote Age Rewind.
Yeah.
And it's the idea of turning back the clock. And it was the idea, though, that I think we can already focus in on 10 years. We can turn back 10 years for sure. And I'm convinced of that by just following principles, following strategies that you can do. You know that you focus on your habits, cooking, eating, shopping, fitness, thinking habits. You know that you can do it. And that to me is empowering, and it'll always be empowering. And if I can, help, change, people one body at a time, then I know I've succeeded. And it doesn't have to be millions of people. I can succeed with one person. I've made a difference in one person's life. That makes it so gratifying to me that I'm given an opportunity to do that. It means the world to me.
If somebody that's listening right now is feeling a bit stuck in their fitness, this will be my last question for you because we are coming up on the hour. It flew by.
Oh, wow.
What's the first tiny commitment that you would have them make this week?
The first thing I would ask them to do is do those 3 things in the morning, that 3-part ritual, without a doubt, because that empowers you. And it's like, oh, it only took me a minute and a half, 2 minutes to do. I can do that. And so then you start building that up. So instead of starting with 20, maybe in a couple weeks, you do 25, and then you do 30, because now you're starting to feel a little peppy. Well, do 30 times 30 days. That's 900 push-ups. You empower that person. You're like, well, I can do that. And so that's the other thing. And I'd say, look, put on your tennis shoes and just go for a walk, at least a couple minutes out, couple minutes back. Now you get that heart rate pumping and thumping, but don't forget the key to aging is the muscle. So I just encourage them to do something that's going to start them on the right path to transformation, because if they're just doing cardio, Nina, they're not going to see the results. And what happens is they start losing interest, and then it's, oh, heck with it. This isn't working for me. Oh, it'll work. It doesn't work 50% of the time. It works 100% of the time. But when you put that overload principle into play, it has to work. It's pure physics. You understand physics, Nina. It's pure physics. So, hey, people out there, get up, fuel up, and live it up. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for everyone that
Thank
joined us
you.
live today. This was really an energetic interview. There's something really powerful about learning about all of this, and also just you sharing your energy, Jamie. Honestly,
Thanks,
it's
Nina.
contagious.
I
Also,
appreciate you
thanks for
having me.
reminding us that fitness doesn't have to be intimidating. You know, it doesn't
No,
have to take hours. It's just about being consistent, like you said.
that's
And then
it.
we can also have some fun with it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, for sure.
and yeah, if this conversation was inspiring to anybody that's watching live, you can check out Jamie on, I think it's just, is it just jamiebrenkus.com? Is that where we can
You can
find
do
you?
JamieBrinkisFitness.com as
Thank
well.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And then all your
just remember,
routines,
getting,
we could find your routines there. We could find your new book, Age Rewind. I'll also link everything afterwards.
yeah,
And
8minutebody.com gets me there too.
which one was that?
8minutebody.com, you can go there. But getting fit never gets old, Nina. Believe
I
me.
like that. So thank you so much, Jamie, for joining me. It was really, really a
Thank
fun
you. It's a pleasure.
conversation.
Thank you.
Cool. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.